Application Rationalization, a thought leader's conversation brought to you by Enlight Software. Introducing Steve Nauman, Anthony Vicinelli, and Pete Soronis.
Application rationalization is something that is, to me at least, how you've so eloquently shared or charged a light bulb in my brain is, what do we have? And what do we need in the future? And where is this workforce going to be best utilized? And I hear you saying that know what you have, use these tools to make decisions, but still human intuition and being strategic about whether you migrate to a cloud as your primary or secondary. Can you speak a little bit to the application rationalization component and how it all kind of ties together, the cloud first, cloud smart, forgive me?
Right. We have to be in a constant state of improvement in our data centers and in our production environments or production portfolios. So we have to get into the regular cadence, and most places already are. If you've put something into production, you've made the business decision, you've gathered all the requirements that you have this need, you create the application system environment, you ask for the money, you install it, you then support it. Then at some point in the future, whatever that cadence is, you have to reevaluate, and this should be done on a continual basis. And this is how application rationalization fully supports FITARA and putting things in front of the CIO for review. So we go through all this, and all the users will provide input for real observations and real stories about how it's actually working in the production environment. And that will also help us strategically place these things. So if we say, oh, it's going to cost so much less if we put it over here in cloud A, and it really bombs out because it's not getting the response times that you need, that's an input. And that's something that we can also add into the application rationalization process. Say, we have a known problem, and we can use all this new information that we're getting from all these influencers of the production environment. And the user is because we have so many more users now using things remotely, that's going to be key going forward.
There's data that tools can provide, but the human being in the middle to help make the decisions or determine whether or not the improvement, that they thought was going to happen was there, and that sort of ongoing cycle of review to make sure that that they're still going in the right direction. As we're finding this, just what Steve said, right? You need to go through and make sure and remeasure those criteria, take new variables into account, and then push them through the tools that you may have available to you to try to get meaningful results out of, and continue to go through that. Right? It's not a end goal. It's not a finish line. Right? You get to the finish line and then you re-review.
Cyclical. It's cyclical, right? And it's
cyclical,
continuous improvement, right?
Cyclical, but moving hopefully up. Hopefully, I'm showing up and to the right on my screen, but. Yes, a cyclical improvement as you go through with each iterative review.
When we go to more hybrid configurations, we're not all going to let these contracts all at the same time. We're going to be in a constant state. You may have had one contract with a data center, now you've gone to 27 cloud providers or solutions. So that has to be worked into the cycle, and that's where AI is going to be key in helping us keep track of that. Because as humans, we won't be able to fully engage in that and manage it properly.
What this conversation drives home is that as part of a hybrid cloud strategy, an inventory and rationalization of applications is critical. This is not a one-time event. It must be part of an ongoing hygiene discipline. An organization needs to put in place a regular cadence around putting an application into production. After the business decision to implement, funding is given, requirements are gathered, the application environment is built, installed, and supported, its lifecycle needs to be continually evaluated. Input must be gathered about how the application is actually working in the environment. Understanding how the application is performing for users is critical in understanding where to optimally place it, in or out of the public cloud, in a dedicated data center, or out at the edge. While there are tools that provide good information to assist in the application rationalization process, humans still have to be in the middle of the equation. Users are required to determine that the process improvement that was anticipated with an application is actually being realized. The process is cyclical and iterative. The analysis and rationalization need to be ongoing, constantly reimagining the criteria and taking the new variables into account. There is no end goal or finish line. It's about continual improvement. The improvements could be refreshing hardware, programmatic changes, and even contractual changes. Given all the data points from users, devices, computing architectures, and vendor agreements, the number of variables become unwieldy. Within application rationalization, you need to use all of this data to evaluate cost, service delivery, and business resiliency collectively. This is where AI comes in to help sort through all the data and help us make rational, informed decisions about the applications and the platform they run on most optimally.